Okay, now let's move on to staging permissions and policies. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that change. As I mentioned before, it can be very handy in ShareVault to stage your permissions. So let's go ahead and show an example of how you would do that. So I'm going to create a new group, and this new group is going to be a dummy group. And we're going to call this Stage 1 Due Diligence. All right, and then I go to permissions, and I set the permissions that make sense for Stage 1 Due Diligence, and I hit Next, and I add the group, and then I can create another group. And by the way, these are dummy groups. These are groups that are going to be empty. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this group and call this Stage 2 Due Diligence. All right, and I go to permissions for Stage 2 Due Diligence. And I extend, and then maybe I allow some different rights here, and you can change your permissions and policy in a way that's appropriate for Stage 2 Due Diligence, and you hit apply. Okay, so you do that, maybe you do 3 different stages of due diligence, and then what you do is if you've got a new buyer, potential buyer, let's say they're called Wickham Equity, and they've just finished Stage 1 Due Diligence and they're ready for Stage 2 Due Diligence, what you do is you select Wickham Equity and you go copy permissions and policies from Stage 2 Due Diligence. Okay, so basically Stage 2 Due Diligence is going to be a placeholder group that contains just the appropriate permissions and policies for Stage 2 Due Diligence, and then you can promote a particular entity's stage by just importing the appropriate permissions and policies from a dummy group.